Christmas is fast approaching. That means millions of people are going to be burning through their savings, lining up just to get their hands on the latest technology, completely oblivious to the fact that they are actually paying to have their private conversations recorded and shared with third parties. Take the new Samsung Smart TV. The amount of data that this thing collects is staggering.
Just say what you want.
Find this action adventure.
It logs where, when, how, and for how long you use the TV. It sets tracking cookies and beacons designed to detect when you have viewed particular content or a particular email message. It records the apps you use, the websites you visit, and how you interact with content. And it, of course, has a built-in camera and microphone with facial and voice recognition for your convenience. But Samsung's new global privacy policy for its line of smart TVs comes with a rather ominous warning. Please be aware that if your spoken words include personal or other sensitive information, that information will be among the data that's captured and transmitted to a third party. In other words, don't say anything private in front of your television.
They've been watching us. I can feel it.
Now, writing about the privacy policy for Salon.com, Michael Price writes, I do not doubt that this data is important to providing customized content and convenience, but it's also incredibly personal, constitutionally protected information that should not be for sale to advertisers and should require a warrant for law enforcement to access. There's no need for the FBI to bug your living room. You'll do it yourself. In 2 years' time, the stuff that this Samsung TV can do will be old news.
What's wrong?
Let's say you're having a fight with your spouse in front of your television. Well, that camera and microphone that's been surreptitiously recording all of your private conversations and scanning your body language can now send that information to third-party advertisers so that they can air a perfectly timed commercial suggesting some SSRIs. For them, it's all about targeted advertising. But for the surveillance apparatus, it's about complete information control.
Its primary intention is to transmit data. It receives data from smart appliances, which will be in your home, so that they can, then immediately push back to you what they feel that you need in that moment for advertising purposes. It's not giving us more control. It's actually giving the control to big corporations, to utilities, and to governments who will be sharing in this data that is basically being extracted from the home in a very, very high level of detail.
All of this spying is documented. It's been going on for decades, and now people are just buying into the idea that they need all of these new smart appliances to save the earth and save on energy bills, when in reality, these devices are ushering in a new era of total surveillance bondage. Lining up to buy their crap is helping to construct the Panopticon.
What's wrong?
I need something stronger.
Take 4 red capsules. In 10 minutes, take 2 more. Help is on the way.
What's really eye-opening here is you watch your TV, but with this hack, your TV can watch you. Show us how that works.
So one of the things that we were able to do with the Smart TV platform was actually abuse the browser to the extent that we could actually gain access to the camera that's built into the TV.
Right.
And so what we can prove here is that with a little bit of extra code, we can turn the camera on in your browser.
Wow.
And while this is evident to you right here because we've designed it that way, this is something that we can do invisibly and actually have the camera running behind the web page that you're looking at.
So what this means is I could be sitting here watching TV from my bedroom, and you could be anywhere in the world looking at this image of me watching.
Yep, I could be sitting on a laptop in a cafe in Paris, and as long as I have a network connection, I'd be able to get into your TV and access the camera.
The kind of scary things about it is that it doesn't actually give any indication that the camera's on, and there's no little LED that shows up when the camera's on. So it could actually be watching you and you never even know.
What is a smart TV, and why is it a playground essentially for hackers?
Right. It's a computer. So instead of just being, a tube and some other electronics, now it has a web browser, and it has, a lot of devices are running Linux. X is the actual windowing system that the TV runs just like a normal Linux system, so I can go ahead and just kill that right now, and the TV should turn black.
But the real danger is when people start using smart TVs for things like online banking, we can take a popular bank address and translate that into a different IP address to a site that directs to a site that we control. So it may look like your bank's login, but you're actually entering a username and password that goes to us instead of your bank.
In a statement to CNN Money, Samsung says it takes consumer privacy very seriously. The camera can be turned into the bezel of the TV so that the lens is covered or disabled by pushing the camera inside the bezel. The TV owner can also unplug the TV from the home network when the smart TV features are not in use. As an added precaution, we also recommend that customers use encrypted wireless access points when using connected devices. When people see this and listen to this, they're going to think, you know, my God, can people actually watch me from my television? Can you definitively say that has been fixed?
I mean, this issue has existed even on you know, laptops. It's a lot harder now because, you know, different companies have taken a lot of efforts to make that difficult. But the fundamental flaw is still possible, you know, even on a modern computer. It just takes somebody to, you know, find the right exploit and then leverage it.
For those of us who are a little freaked out and maybe don't trust all these updates, what's the easiest fix?
So one of the things that you could do with the smart TV, which you can also do with your laptops, is just cover up the camera. Put a little Post-it note over it, a piece of tape, and next time that you want to Skype with your family, just take it off.
I was able to see that television sets were actually watching people in their homes, monitoring their movements, monitoring their conversations. I was shown in the dream that the television didn't even have to be on, it just needed to be plugged in.
Verizon has designed a DVR that will have you asking, can they hear me now? Like something straight out of George Orwell's trash can. The device will use cameras and microphones that will watch you while you watch it.
So moving on to our facial recognition, which is my favorite portion. If you notice, the top center of our TVs have a camera built in. Hallelujah. Okay, we've got cameras in our television. So this particular camera is a facial recognition camera as well as a Skype application camera.
Very unusual things in the dream transpired. The changes took place almost instantly and with complete ease. Complete ease. There was peaceful martial law, as I said. Military police were everywhere, and they knew everyone's whereabouts. I found out how they began to know this.
It also incorporates a lot of our smart functionality. Smart Interaction uses our camera built into the bezel, the minimalist design. We built a camera into it that allows you to interact with the television through voice control, gesture control, and face recognition.
To log into your SmartHub account using face recognition without needing to input your account ID and password. Position yourself so your face is in the center of the red face recognition circle.
And so I saw these in homes just about everywhere.
Imagine your TV being able to do what your smartphone can do. Nifty features such as face recognition using a camera on your Google box.
Thanks to built-in HD quality cameras, 3 smart TVs, the ES8000, the ES7000 and the Plasma E8000 all offer facial recognition and gesture control, giving you more ways of interacting with friends and family.
One of the great things about facial recognition is once you've set it up with all your accounts, you can use it to log into all of them at once.
It also recognizes my face and logs me into SmartHub. Check this out. See? All my favorite movie apps right there on Samsung SmartHub.
Okay, so my absolute favorite feature on this TV is the built-in camera. It's what recognizes my face and gestures.
It also has this smart touch remote control with a built-in microphone. The other day while I was watching the game, I decided to check out some highlights. Web browser, sports highlights.
No, really, you just say hello. It recognizes your voice. Hi, TV.
Fiber optics. Do you know that one fiber optic cable can carry over 1 million messages? Why? Why do they do things like that? Think for a minute. So that more people can be kept watch after. Not so that telecommunications gets better for us. It's a game, folks. It's a big scheme. It's a big plan going on before us.
Would you watch TV if you knew someone else was watching you? Intel's reportedly planning its own television service. Insiders say it will be a chopped-down version of your standard cable service. And it will come to you through a camera-equipped set-top box that knows who's watching.
John Anderson, you could use a Guinness right about now.
But it will use proprietary Intel chip tech to determine the gender and age of its current audience.
It's clear that everyone recognizes that it's time for demographic ratings to evolve into more sophisticated advanced demographics or consumer ratings. And it's really not a question of if it's going to happen, it's really more of a question of when it's going to happen. We want to make television work harder by emphasizing it or reinforcing it. More and more every day, advertisers are demanding that advanced targeting and consumer information is being used in order to plan and buy media.
Verizon not only wants to provide your cable television service, but also stick around and observe everything you do while watching TV. The company filed a patent for a set-top box that uses, quote, a depth sensor, an image sensor, an audio sensor, and a thermal sensor to record what you're doing so it can target you with specific advertising. As an example, Verizon notes the DVR box would send an ad for marriage counseling to an arguing couple, or ads for a romantic getaway, or a commercial for contraceptives to a couple cuddling up.
It's taken a while to build a technology platform to leverage set-top box data and Nielsen data and other data for better targeting, growing our platform, bringing in more data, looking at other kinds of data that people want to target on. I think we're going to see a lot of the promise of the online advertising world is going to be exploited in the television advertising world. More measurability.
What is Visible World, and what do you do? Why does it matter?
Well, Leslie, we're an advanced advertising company. We have targeting capabilities, data analytics, interactivity, workflow and automation. You will just get better, more relevant ads.
I know that by now every one of you have heard about the story of the smart TVs watching you with built-in cameras, and you're hip to this kind of information, but people still go right on out to the store and buy one. There is a difference here. You know, most people going out here to get these smart TVs don't realize, you know, the only big plus is that it can connect to the internet for you. But besides that, it's being tracked when you do. It's logging where you are when you do it. You might as well just use your computer. But these new... And I know it's about convenience for most people. They can watch their Netflix off of it and this and that, but that's where they get you. There's always a price for their convenience. Your freedom, your privacy. As you can see here, these people watching their TV show, they're being spied on by Samsung's latest breed of plasma and HDTVs that could also allow hackers, or even the company itself, to see you and hear you and your family and collect extremely personal data. These new models, now we've heard it before, but I'm saying these new models specifically, there's no ifs, ands, or buts. It's stated that they are in there and why they are in there. The new models, which are closer than ever to personal computers, offer high-tech features that have previously been unavailable, including the built-in HD camera, a microphone set, and face and speech recognition software. You hear that? Biometrics. As soon as you step in front of that TV, it knows it's you and that you've been there. Period. And if it's hooked up to the internet, that data's gone. They've got you just that quick off these new TVs. Now, this software allows Samsung to recognize who is viewing the TV and lets them personalize each person's experience accordingly. It also listens to people's responses and specific voice commands. So it's listening to everything in the room. It has a built-in HD camera that is watching you, picking you up on biometrics. It's logging all this and sending it back. And hackers can easily pick up this wave of communication and be watching it. Just like somebody's got a home security system, you get your cameras hooked up, you can go online, and I can't tell you, you could pull up millions of video feeds people's backyards, swimming pools, Burger King parking lots, all that stuff. Just right there in the open that people tap into and let everyone watch. And you could be the same. You sitting in your living room unexpectedly doing whatever you do in the privacy of your own home, and people are filming it because your TV's watching you. That's an eerie feeling.
It's just said as like an of course.
Yeah.
Well, obviously the CIA would have a venture capital firm. Well, how else would they do their investments? They've got to find, invest in some hedge fund, don't they? Why? Why is the CIA doing that? Anyway, but so that's a small part of it. Apparently, it's a firm called In-Q-Tel, okay, and they are now talking about. They had the summit where the CIA and this private company are bragging about all the lovely spying they can do together, because it's not like our government is supposed to have a separation from business. Apparently, we've completely merged. Again, I believe that they have a word for that in the English language. And then Petraeus brags. Now he's the head of the CIA now. He says, some of these advances are, quote, transformational, okay, particularly to their effect on clandestine tradecraft. Okay, so what is it? Now they are putting in chips into household appliances that could then be tracked later. So your fridge, maybe your microwave, your stove, your dishwasher.
No, it's 1984.
It is.
It's really 1984. We have massive screens in our houses that have, like, the leader of the country speaking to us and spying on us at all times.
Yeah, so I love this because they call it, again, they freely admit, they call it a treasure trove of data if you're a person of interest to the spy community. Now,
you know who's a person of interest? Muslims in New York.
Yeah.
Like Muslim students who go on rafting trips. Those are the people who will have these chips in their microwaves.
Now, understand what Anna's saying, because it's so important, because NYPD and the CIA work together to track Muslims, innocent Muslim Americans, American citizens. Now, the CIA isn't supposed to work inside the United States. Oh, that's long gone. They claim because of an interpretation of a 2008 law that was passed, the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, they say, no, because of the way that it got amended in 2008, it's okay. The CIA can go nuts inside the country, and they can track all of your household appliances, let alone everything else, and they can track American citizens, and as long as you're a person of interest. Now, in the old days, a person of interest was supposed to be somebody who's a terrorist. In the new days, innocent American citizens, on the odd chance, they might at some point do something wrong, okay? So, and by the way, you think they're just containing it to Muslims? Now remember, the FBI, etc., in the past had tracked PETA, the Quakers, peace groups, because they might be dangerous. Now you think the CIA is not getting into that business? Come on. They're in your fridge, literally. And then you know what they're calling these things? They're calling them items of interest.
Right.
So if you're a person of interest, your fridge is an item of interest. Now, we don't know that they have, of course, any audio or video capability. It's geolocation data. They can tell when you're, open your fridge and close your fridge, etc., when you used it. But they can't tell, what you're doing inside your own kitchen.
Right.
We think.
Okay, right.
We think.
Okay, right.
We think.
Okay, but... Right.
We think.
Okay, but think about this for a second, like the technology behind it, right? The CIA doesn't know when you're going to go buy a refrigerator or a microwave, right? So they're going to put these chips in all of the appliances.
Yes.
All of us are people of interest, okay? It's not like they're going to pick and choose, like you go to work and they're going to break into your house and put the chip in the refrigerator. No, all of these appliances are going to have this chip in there that collects all this data. And I'm very curious to see what data it is. Like if you have hummus in the fridge, are you a person of interest?
That's a food item of interest.
Yes.
Okay. And by the way, Anna makes a great point there, because in the old days, you would have to break into the house and plant a bug somewhere, etc., when you got a warrant on somebody and you're like, okay, we have some probable cause to think that this guy's doing something wrong. Now, you don't need probable cause, you don't need a warrant. All these devices go in everybody's home. So you're automatically a person of interest. Mm-hmm. And by the way, again, Petraeus is so, since there's never any consequences anymore, he's so brazen about it. He says, this is going to prompt a rethink of our, quote, our notions of identity and secrecy. Understand what he's saying there? Exactly what Anna said. Our notion of identity. In the past, we had to target people who we thought were doing something wrong. Well, we have rethought our notion of identity. Now everybody's a suspect. And our notion of secrecy. In the past, we had to get a court order to put a bug in your house. Now, no, nothing is secret. So, and if they're allowed to do this, and they say, well, everybody already allowed me to tap all your appliances, so what's the difference? Now they can listen to audio, or now we can pick up video from it. Well, you already allowed it. We have rethought our notions of identity and secrecy, and we already told you. So can they do that?
Of course.
Will they do that?
Of course.
Christmas is fast approaching. That means millions of people are going to be burning through their savings, lining up just to get their hands on the latest technology, completely oblivious to the fact that they are actually paying to have their private conversations recorded and shared with third parties.